welcome to this latest installment of Tones of the Hammer, the podcast here in Hamilton, where we talk all things music, all things local music scene, and all things creative industries. And today I'm super stoked because I'm lucky enough to have Mr. Mattie Leon on the couch.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down, dude. Thanks for coming down.
It's my first time here. This place is amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's always good to welcome new people to Halo. You know, I try and scream and shout about Halo Studios down in Hamilton.
It's very nice.
Well, thank you, dude. So, Mattie, this is the first time we're meeting, and it's always good when it's the first time to meet someone because I can just ask questions all day long about it. Yeah. So, let's get right into it. I first heard about you. I think we followed each other on Instagram for a few months or something like that. And this is the perfect opportunity to get to know more about you. Yeah. So, for somebody who doesn't know all about Mattie Leon, tell us where music started for you, what you're all about, who's your influences, what do you do?
I'm a singer-songwriter from now in Hamilton. I've been here for about 5 years.
Where are you from originally?
Brampton.
Nice.
Brampton, Ontario. Yeah. And then Toronto for a chunk, and then left Toronto during the pandemic.
I see.
Came here.
Those rent prices are getting crazy, right?
Yeah. Came here with my young family, and got into music, as everybody does, like in high school, and start writing songs, and I just at some point music becomes really important to you, and somewhere in your 20s you're like, this is gonna be my life. And so that happened to me. I was in a rock band for 5 or 6 years, kind of in Toronto, and then after that ended, that was definitely the point where it was like, am I gonna keep, like, is this what I'm gonna be and what I'm gonna do? And it was like, so was in another band, and then went started doing this singer-songwriter thing. God, it's been a while now, but just chipping away. My brother is my drummer, so we've kind of been creative partners through the whole thing. And we've got a trio. And sound-wise, I guess, inspired by the great songwriters like Lennon McCartney, Paul Simon.
Yeah, because I recognize that quite, when I listen to your music, I recognize quite a strong Beatles influence for sure. I can tell there's a Beatles fan.
Yeah. I feel like they run the whole gamut of like every style of music. So it's
and how can anybody in the 21st century not be influenced by John and Paul and
exactly.
and George and Ringo, right?
And for me, like when I was a kid, like Oasis was like huge for me too. It was which is kind of like, there's such a following in the footsteps of the Beatles, like those guys. And I just loved Oasis. Going to see them this summer, which I'm excited about.
Oh, you got tickets? Okay.
Yes.
I was thinking about it, but then I was one of those people that my best friend back home introduced me to Oasis.
Okay.
I listened to him so much that I listened to him for about a year so much, and then after that year, I just turned it off and never put it back on.
Oh wow, okay.
But I do love them, and I do like know more, all the tunes and everything, and I would love to see them, But yeah, that should be fun though.
It should be cool.
I'm interested to see if there's any scraps on stage, any fights on stage,
likely, I would think. Yeah.
Maybe not in Toronto because everybody's so friendly in Canada. So
that's true. Although that is where Noel got jumped one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know that
I think in like 2000, their last tour in Toronto, somebody hopped up on stage and like jumped him from behind.
Oh man, why?
I think he broke ribs. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyways, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that should be fun. That should be a fun. It should be a fun gig. So you moved here to Hamilton though.
Yep.
As a songwriter, and so you basically moved the transition to full-time songwriting.
Yeah, it was like an interesting. I worked at a high school, for a while, and then right as like the end of that came, where I was like, I'm gonna get out of this job. Like this isn't what I want to be doing. Right at that time, it was like 2019. I got picked up by a label, so it was like, I thought it was like a sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of dropped everything and focused on that. And then I had to put that record out in the middle of the pandemic, which was
the best time for music.
Which was a good time for music. But that's okay. And so it's kind of like, since that happened, I've left that label now, but since that happened, it was kind of like, okay, this is what this is what I'm going to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think that's the best dive to do, you know. I think I often say on this podcast, to be fair, that like people who are serious about music, man, you've just got to take the risk and do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's because that slight comfort that you might have of doing it just every night at weekends or whatever.
Yeah.
It'll never allow you to just
right.
Because if you've got the pressure of trying to do it, you know, it becomes take it seriously.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me that was like a big. I've always been trying to make it, in music since I was like 20 or 21 or whatever, and for whatever reason, like when I was in like a rock band, the kind of music we were writing didn't really fit with like the scene that was good in like big in Toronto or Ontario or Canada, and it was a little poppier, and I always felt like I was just kind of outside of what was kind of taken off.
Yeah.
And it was this getting signed or picked up was just like, it was just a little acknowledgement that, okay, I'm doing something right. There is something that I am, like, maybe I'm pretty good at this.
You're good at this. Yeah, of course you are, mate. That's why we're here right now, because you're good at this, for sure. And how was your experience? Because I always love to ask, as somebody who's never been signed to a label or anything like that, how was your experience first time when you were signed to a label? Is it kind of, was it what you expected in being signed to a label, or?
I think for me it was a little different because I was older.
Yeah.
If it had happened when I was like 21, maybe I would have, I don't know, been a little more hard-headed or something. For me, it was like I was so appreciative that people saw something in me.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And like I went in with the mentality that I was just going to learn and be open and work hard. And with that mindset, it was great.
Yeah.
Because like everybody wants to like win.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Creatively, it's tough as a songwriter or as a musician or being in a band. It's tough to get critiqued, to have parts that you wrote picked apart, changed. That doesn't change. But maybe when I was younger, I'd be like, "Don't fucking touch my stuff."
Yeah, I got you.
to where now it's like, no, that's how you get something better.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just the way you approach things. Unfortunately, the timing was like,
that
was really rough because there was just nothing. Like for us, it was like we wanted to get an agent, and get on the road. Shows were getting, like, every show was canceled at that time. Agents were dumping their rosters, not picking people up. So it was just like it was a really weird. It was a sucky time. Yeah.
I think sometimes, especially now we're in 2025, we're all just kind of dealing with the stresses of what's happening today. We forget that, oh my God, all that stuff happened where it's shut down and people working at Amazon for which is great to work at Amazon, but you know, not when you're a musician so much, you know. Wild time. But it must have been it's like I said, wrong timing. Basically.
It was just like shitty timing, but I did get a lot out of it, and I'm much better off for that experience and all like the connections I made and the friends I made. Like, it was, don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was just kind of bad timing, and it pushed, like, it gave me that little thing I needed to be like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need, because it's this is an industry that your imposter syndrome or whatever it's called all the time hits you, right? You're always like, should I be doing this? Am I really doing as well as I think I'm doing? And I mean, being signed to a label, that's it's kind of the be all and end all for a lot of artists' dreams, isn't it? You know,
that's kind of what you're thinking when you're starting. And But yeah, also like the other thing I learned is that like if that stuff happens, it doesn't mean anything. Like you have to keep working hard. You have to keep everything you're doing before getting signed or picked up. Yeah. You still have to do maybe ×2 or ×3. Like
because labels don't have that autonomous power that they really used to have in terms of the world. Still, they don't dominate culture as much as they used to, right? The music culture, whereas social media dominates it a lot of the time, right? Now,
yeah. And the social media thing is just like a constant learning curve of
changes every day, right?
Platforms change every day. The things they want changes every day.
And so now you're an independent artist, then,
yeah. So my brother and I, we started our own label.
Great.
And that's what we've been doing. So it's my stuff, his stuff, and then our bass player's a great songwriter too. And it's his stuff, and it's like those 3 artists on that. And so we're just trying to put good music out there.
Yeah, totally, man. That's all you can that's all you can ask. And I would say, so in terms of being that independent artist, then what would you find is because I always like to find this out from different people's experience, because we've had people on that are, they've been at the top of the game here in the Canadian music scene, or mid tier, whatever you want to call it, sort of thing. But what would you say are the biggest struggles these days is, like trying to put music out, trying to release new music, trying to
the biggest what?
The struggles, the biggest struggles. Like if you especially if you're just starting a label and stuff, what's.
I think the biggest struggle is, it's a good question. It's getting attention in a world that is just like oversaturated with people trying to get attention.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think you like naturally you kind of are like, I don't want to, I just worked so hard on this song. I just spent hundreds of hours like recording it, mixing it, like getting it to where, and now you're telling me that that's not the end of the line. Like now I have to put in as much time making little videos and like telling little stories about it. And that's tough. And I think the struggle is being okay with that. And
which you do a great job of, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks.
I've seen
I try.
your content, and if you've not checked Matt's content out, there's going to be a link down below somewhere where you can check it out. So check it out. But yeah, you do a good job of it.
I think it's like just accepting that you have to help tell the story of like your songs. And if you're a songwriter, like I work really hard on my songs and the lyrics and everything. There are stories that I'm telling, and once I like ignore that negative feeling of doing socials, it's like, oh, okay, no, I have stories I want to tell with the song anyways. So when I play live, I found it's so impactful to like tee up a song. If it's the right kind of show, like telling a story about the song or telling it helps the audience connect with like the song. And I've seen it happen. I've talked to other artists about this, but like I've seen it happen where I could tell a story before a song. I don't even have to perform that song that great. And that'll be the song that people talk to me after the show.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, okay, like if it's a song about death or like the audience doesn't know that unless you like let them know. And approaching social media in that same way makes it feel less icky to me.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, especially as a songwriter. That's a good way to put it, is sharing this story. It kind of like, but that's the bridge for people to then listen to your music, right?
I do have a tough time, like there are trends on social media that I don't love. Like that stuff kind of that still feels icky to me, and I don't do that.
Yeah, no TikTok dances from Mattie Leon.
Yeah. I've had a few people like in the industry tell me like, that's what you got to be doing. You got to get people dancing to your songs. Like, have you fucking heard my songs?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they just missed the memo of what this is all about.
But I do think that approaching it is like I'm okay singing on screen. I'm okay making videos, promoting the song, talking about the song. And that's a lot of content right there. So it's like, I'm still trying to figure it out. TikTok is a weird one.
Yeah, man. We're all trying to figure it out, Matt. It's a strange one.
I appreciate that it is like, it is a direct line. Like whatever that algorithm is like, if it works, you're getting a direct line. There's not, you don't have to buy ads. You don't, which is very cool. But it's just bizarre where it's like, I can put hours into making like a video that sounds good, and it's like me singing, and then that'll get like no views.
Yeah.
And then I can just talk into my phone, and it's like, it does really well. And it's like,
and people love it.
I know.
It's strange. It's so strange, you know. It's and you can go into total YouTube rabbit holes of what's working, what's not working, and by the time probably you watch it, you know, the video's 3 months out of date, then you've totally missed the memo of what's happening. Right? Is a vibe. So
to circle back, the struggle is that, but it's also finding the balance of like of how much of my time should I spend writing and perfecting my craft and recording and mixing. How much of my time should I be making these videos?
Yeah.
Like these gamble videos to throw out into the ether. And then how much of my time should I be playing shows and trying to build an audience? And it's just time. Yeah, time.
There's just not enough time in a day, right?
There's not enough time.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I think it's like, so like I said, talked about the YouTube rabbit hole. Then is the idea that, you know, so many videos I've seen about promoting yourself and marketing your music and stuff like that and it's kind of a good concept that where people and I'd say these days it's kind of one of those where you have to agree with it because it's just the way of the world. Is the idea that somebody says, if you pay like $1,000 to record your record, why are you only putting $50 into promoting it, sort of thing? And I've found that if I look back at everything I've released as my own artist or anything I've been involved in, that I could say I could totally relate to. That's probably why they've flopped, is because I've probably not understood that marketing process of like the post I've finished it, you know.
Years and years ago, I had like, there was one guy in the music industry that like I could always message and send him demos, and like he would always just be like, give me his ear to ask questions and stuff. It was like really nice, and this is probably 2018 or something like that. I just asked him if I could buy him a beer and just like pick his ear on a few things.
And people don't realize like, how important that is to somebody trying. I'm so glad you've said that, because it's like, I think so many times is somebody that's been in the industry for like 20 years. Yeah. It might be that maybe you're bugging them or whatever, but it's like a 30-minute chat with them.
It was huge.
Change your career, right?
Yeah. So I'll shout him out, Jordan Howard. But he's very, very kind to me over the years. And I asked him, I was like, if I wasn't in front of you, what would you tell somebody else that I should be doing? And he was like, PR, more money into PR. You've got this tour. It was because I had a cross Canada tour that I wanted to like do right. And he's like, play less shows, put more money into each show.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was just really helpful advice that promotion part of it is so big.
So now, yeah.
But now even that has changed with social media, because it's like, as I remember a time when I'd get onto my computer, I'd go to enemy.com or like Exclaim or something like that. And not saying that those sites aren't important anymore, but like, I don't know who's popping over to those sites to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's all just like on these couple apps.
Yeah.
And it's hard to...
It's so saturated, like you said.
Yeah.
Right?
So like when you put out a song, it's fine to know that you need to put some money behind PR or ads and stuff, but you just don't know where that PR is like.
Yeah. Do I pay somebody else to do it? Do I make an ad and do it? Or do I, vice versa. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's never changing world, right?
It just keeps changing. And the good thing is, good songs seem to get out there and get shared. The cream
does rise to the top.
It does, even
if less people hear it, man. Like, I think everybody has more respect for somebody that can write a good song rather than dance and get her melodies.
And I do, the one thing about social media that I do like is that like, like I could could shoot a video of me playing a song and singing into the camera, and you can't fake that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can, but you can kind of tell when it's like auto-tuned and all.
Yeah.
Like if it's it could be an impressive thing for people to like just turn on their phone and see somebody who's like really playing something or singing. And, so that's okay.
Yeah, and I think especially like maybe over the last few years it's been harder to do this. But I think now people are really seeing through something that's fake and something that's not.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to spot now.
Yeah.
Or somebody, if you're really interested in knowing how it works, you can kind of tell if somebody's numbers are fake or what. You know what I mean? If you know your onions a little bit, sort of thing. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's exactly like you say is like the real talent kind of people. You know, I think you'd rather have 100 super fans that are real fans than 1 million fans that are just bots and people that don't really care about your music, right? You know.
Yeah. And I think being a songwriter and like somebody who plays piano or acoustic guitar, like it actually does translate pretty well to social media.
Yeah.
Like singing and playing piano or singing and playing guitar, it would be really to be in like a rock band and trying to make it in a rock band right now. I'm sure there's obviously people doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just not the world I'm in anymore, but that would be really tough because just the way you want to go see that experience, the way you want to experience like that kind of music is like in a space with people where it's loud and it's like hitting your chest and it's like it almost hurts your ears and like listening to any rock band on a phone doesn't like it just
it takes away from
right?
the whole, I guess, rock and roll way of doing things, isn't it? You know?
It's like watching a roller coaster, like one of those point of view roller coasters, where it's like it doesn't really feel the same thing. You know?
Yeah, I feel that. So let's forget about the social world for a minute because it's just takes away from the musicality of being a musician, right? So what's your songwriting process, Matt? I want to hear about like who we said obviously the Beatles and stuff, but I saw after a quick scan on your website, you know, you're influenced by a lot of like 60s, 70s songwriting vibes and stuff. So what is your usual process? Are you a lyrics guy first? Are you somebody who takes notes down? Do you like to do it with melody? What's the vibe?
It's all of the above now.
Yeah.
I would say before it was like
that's like
melody.
A true songwriter.
What's that?
You've learned how to be a true songwriter. It's just write however it comes.
Yeah,
right?
however it happens. So it definitely started as like riffs, the melodies, and then forming that into songs. And then actually a lot of it is the pandemic. Like if there's one good thing that came out of the pandemic, I was just writing so much that it was like I was writing so much that all these different ways of writing, I was just trying out and just to see. So I know that like Chris Martin from Coldplay, he's got like a notes with titles. I started doing that. So like if I can think of a title, it's like great. I'll list a bunch of titles down, and every once in a while it's like, oh, maybe I'll write this one today, and that's really helpful because it's like you have the finish line in your sight. Yeah. So you can write towards it as opposed to sometimes when you're writing, if you just like, if you find a little riff and you don't know what it's about, you might be writing that song for 5 months.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have done that.
Yeah. Or you're just losing context of what the song's all about. It's got no direction, right?
Yeah. So some songs have been written lately like that. A lot of them are still melody first, like a riff or something happens, and that informs me of that feels like it might be about this. There are songs I've sat down where it's like I want to write a song about this subject before I have any instrument in my hands, and I'll do that. There are songs that oddly enough my brother wrote a couple songs for his first EP where he was like coming up with kind of chorus lines in his car driving to work
nice.
And like making an audio and then sending it to me, and it would be like, what are the chords for this one? And then I was like, oh, okay. And a few songs started kind of coming to me like that, where it's like, a chorus, which is a very fun way of doing it. You just kind of sing out something.
Yeah.
And then if it sounds like something, then you go and you go to the piano or you go to the guitar and you find out what those chords are. Yeah. So it's kind of where it used to be one way. Now I'm kind of open to anything.
Yeah. You know? And I think that's a great thing. And it's so easy to forget when you're writing songs like that is to write non-judgmentally, you know. It's like, cause I think it's a thing that can really bog you down for years and years go by, and then you realize that, oh my God, I've just let this bother me for so long. Yeah. The idea of not writing because as soon as I sing a chorus, oh well, that was shit, so I'll not try. It's all shit. Yeah, it's all, why am I doing this? That's shit. Everything I've done is shit, so why should I do it? You know, sort of thing. So I think that's that's a sign of a true songwriter. I think is like if you just push through that kind of barrier of just like, no, we're gonna write till. I think I always say Ed Sheeran's
it's such a good one. The
with
water
the
faucet
dirty
thing.
tap sort of thing, and then eventually the clear water runs through. You know.
And it's there. So much of it is just editing, anyways. As long as you can tell, if you can be honest with yourself and tell yourself, oh, that sounds good, that doesn't sound good, then it's like you can write a good song. Yeah, because you just keep getting rid of the stuff that sucks. Yeah. And then you keep looking for ways to improve it until you can't find anything else. Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, there you go, now it's done. Yeah. And yeah, there's what was the other one? So in that same vein, like you were talking about the Ed Sheeran thing, that's true. Even just the editing process, how important that is and how long that takes for me, at least. Especially now with kind of country music and that Nashville scene. Mm-hmm. And songwriters and songwriting teams and people co-writing. Yeah. There's definitely like this thing where you always hear like, we sat down, we had a 3-hour session, finished the song. And I get it doesn't work that way with me. Yeah. Where it's like if you do a 3-hour session and you get like maybe a verse or a chorus, then that's great. And then you work on it and keep chipping away.
And also with things like that, I think there's also so many elements that people don't think about. Because I think about, like you said, somebody like, I don't know, Ed Sheeran walks into a Nashville writing session, or Chris Stapleton does, or whatever sort of thing. And even the mindset, knowing that you've got this massive retainer from your label, and you know, even your day-to-day activity is like totally like in a different realm where it's like, I'm here, I'm all sorted, and we can just, it's much more, you probably feel much more comfortable and relaxed rather than the pressure of like, if I don't write a good song soon, then I'm not going to pay the bills, sort of thing.
Well, and I just think that like songs need time to sit. Yeah, like they need. It's like I think of to like talk about Paul Simon. It's like Graceland was, I think, originally Wasteland. Like when he wrote it. Yeah, and it's like, can you imagine if that whole
album was called Wasteland? It's so
like that, or there's like a million Beatles songs that had like different titles, and so I just think that a song can come quick and it can all happen fast. Yeah, but I don't think you really know for a while.
Yeah, like totally.
And you know, verses need to be edited. Yeah, and there's little pieces,
and that's
that
what people don't realize that's what goes into it. You know, it's like we recently had here at Halo, we had a guy called Brad Sundberg, who was Michael Jackson's engineer for 3 albums, from Bad to Dangerous to History. And although he wasn't involved with the Thrill album, he was telling us, you know, he's got kind of behind the scenes stuff of Michael Jackson's, and you know, Thriller originally was called Starlight, or something.
Right? Have
like
you heard that too?
Yeah, and it was called Starlight, and he showed us like an early demo of Thriller where it shows you they're talking about Starlight.
Yeah.
And can you imagine that and the whole impact of Thriller with the whole video and everything? It'd be so different, right? It'd be totally different. But exactly like you say with the versus editing and stuff, even crossing over into like the audio world and kind of you know, the mixing world. That's another thing that people forget, is like all the time these days, especially if we're doing pop stuff out of the studio, is people are always, say if somebody jumps for auto-tune, or not auto-tune, but like Melodynes or something, and edits like bass lines so they're all perfect and drums and perfect line. Everybody's also always so worried or shocked about that editing, or misunderstands how much work goes into getting a professional sounding song these days. Because we're all so used to hearing perfect music over the radio on Spotify, and it's just not competitive. It's not at that stage, right? You know, and it's exactly the same with a song. You know, a crap verse with a great chorus is gonna suck. You know?
It's not gonna get teed up the way it should be. Yeah,
exactly. So it's so important, and I think it's good to do. I was back to the music marketing thing. Is like somebody was saying yesterday, rather than pumping out 20 songs in a month or whatever, you're better doing a good song every 8 months, every 8 weeks or something. And it be quality.
Promote it.
Yeah, rather than just promoting crap or whatever, you know. It makes sense in my eyes, hopefully, you know, and it's like I said, the cream does rise to the top eventually, you know. Sort of thing, you know?
It's it's a weird that there's even like I know with the social media stuff, there's like this idea of like putting songs out early, like on stream platforms. Oh, I got this verse. What do you think?
Yeah,
it's like, even to me, that seems, even if that's what the audience wants, it doesn't. I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I don't personally like that, because it's you don't need opinions early on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you gotta get it to like a point where you're comfortable with it, and then ask those people around you, and then have your heart broken when they tell you that something's wrong, and then get pissed, and then come back around and be like, okay, you're right.
And you're also missing the wave, right? Of like the idea of it was something I always used to mess up with, is like even announcing a single weeks and weeks before, and you're doing a pre-save or whatever weeks before, and you just lost all your traction because people's attention spans are so short with these things.
They're going to forget it by the time it gets there.
So instead, like you say, instead of showing them the demo or whatever, why don't you show them the real thing, get them to listen to it, and then show them the demo after? When, you know, it makes more sense, right? You know?
For sure.
It does.
There's a podcast I was listening to with Noah Kahn, and he was talking about, it's a songwriter podcast. I can't remember which one. But he was talking about how like that whole Stick Season song came about. And have you heard that story?
No.
And it's like, he got like stoned one night, wrote a verse, put it on TikTok, I think. Yeah. And it blew up. Yeah. So then he finished the song, and it's like, that's a weird way of going about songwriting. Yeah. I guess like, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. It's so amazing though, especially like with these TikTok songs. Like, it's so amazing how many songs are like blowing up like that from people who we don't know, and all of a sudden they become massive stars. Yeah. From like 4-chord wonders again. Yeah. You know, it's like I think about that Anthony someone who the Richmond, North of Richmond or whatever.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
4-chord wonder. Yeah. He recorded it with $100 microphone. Yeah, like it sounds.
You could hear that it sounds like it was like a cheaper condenser. Like it's
and I was like,
stands
whoa.
out.
And now now he's selling out theaters everywhere. You know, it's a totally crazy world that we live in for that sort of stuff. It is. And instead of the world, so this is after all Tones of the Hammer. I always like to get, as somebody, say I'm new to Hamilton. I'm not really new to Hamilton now. I've been here nearly 2 years, but how has your experience with the local Hamilton scene been? How do you play much around Hamilton? Do you go to see shows much around Hamilton? What do you think of this local scene?
Yeah, like I think I moved at a time in my life where I was in Toronto and I was going to shows all the time, and like just, you know, a couple shows a week. And then I moved out here, and then immediately, like, my wife got pregnant. We had a daughter, and so my life schedule just kind of changed once I got here.
100%.
But like Hamilton is very lucky for like the great festivals it has. Like, there's so much free, amazing music. Yeah. Like Supercrawl, We played Supercall a couple weeks ago. Festival of Friends we played last year.
Yeah.
And there's just like a lot of great music going on. And then compared to Toronto, there's not as many clubs. Like I remember going to shows, middle of the week. Like you could kind of find something every day of the week. But even that might be changing in Toronto. I don't know. Like it might just be the time that I came out here. But as far as like, we'll play at Mills a couple times a year, maybe.
A lot of people say that's how Hamilton used to be.
Yeah.
So many people say you could go out in Hamilton every day of the week and there'd be music somewhere.
But I also don't. I don't know if it's just over the years, like
culture's changed.
Culture's changed so much where it's like when I was first in that rock band, you wouldn't be listening to bands online. You'd go to the Horseshoe or you'd go to these clubs to go experience it and hear about what's going on.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if like there was, was it Tuesdays, the bookie night at the Horseshoe was like, you'd go because you knew that it was like a curated night, that it was just good music. And now it's like, I feel like you won't leave your house unless you already know who's playing. So you're not like going to find stuff.
Taking a chance.
Maybe I'm wrong with that. Yeah. But for me, like I went to see the Bedouin Soundclass show a couple weeks ago at Bridgeworks. That place is wicked.
Yeah,
Mills Harbor is great.
Cool.
Yeah,
I've seen some. The few times I've been there, it's super cool. Bridgeworks. I saw I followed this surf rock kind of 4-piece, all female called the Surfragettes.
Cool.
And I followed them for back in the pandemic, and then I moved here to Canada, and I was like, oh, they're supporting somebody at Bridgeworks, and I was like, whoa, this is so amazing.
Yeah,
they get some great acts there.
It's like a great size room.
And I know it's I think it's Sonic Onion that run it, the local record label, and even I'm stoked because they have a beer festival coming up in the summer, and the acts they've got on for that, I don't know.
They're insane. I know that thing started kind of popping up over the last couple of years, and it's like, like I saw Tara Lightfoot there.
Yeah. She's signed to Sonic Onion, and I've seen that there's like the Sheepdogs coming up as well playing. I've heard so much about those guys, so I really want to check them out.
So it's just as far as for a city where there's a lot of great music and a lot of great bands and stuff, there's a lot of good stuff to see throughout the year. It's really cool.
Don't knock Hamilton. It's great, everybody. I tell everybody this. I'm the biggest shouter of Hamilton for sure. It's a great place to be for music.
Yeah, it really is. Lots of great. Well, obviously this place is beautiful, and there's a lot of great studios, and
tons.
A lot of people that, not just musicians, but like studio people and creators and
do you know you're so right there. Is like the entrepreneurship I think of Hamilton, because even in like creative industries that are around, like I said, not even just music stuff, even just like events that are going off, is like people, what I love about it is people are just up for trying something, you know what I mean? Is like there's so many cool little events. A small example, which is, again, is nothing to do with music, but a friend of a friend, she turns out that she lives like literally 3 miles away from me in the UK. And she moved over here years ago, and anyway, she, as somebody that moved over here and is kind of new to town, she organized what's called the Single Social, where is like basically, I mean, it's kind of like dating, but it's no pressure kind of dating thing where people get together and meet up and sort of thing, and like a networking night essentially. And I was like, back home, I'd never heard of anything like that. You know, nobody had tried something like that. But it's like even little events like that, I'm like, it's so cool. You know,
I've noticed that too. I went to one at Mills like last year.
Yeah,
and it was like
the stuff that the Hamilton Arts Council do is really good too.
Yeah, just to like, to actually be in the same room as people that see come across your phone, like it's good. It's like healthy.
Yeah, for sure. It creates community. That's the main thing, right? That's the main thing. And the main reason that you're on here, Mark, because we're talking away and we're gonna forget it. I know we'll forget it.
Yeah, it's okay.
But you have a new song coming out. You have a new song coming out soon. So tell me all about that. How did that come about? When's it coming out? What's it called? What's it about?
It's a single called "Dreaming on Your Feet."
Nice.
It's coming out April 25th, and it's a song I co-wrote with John Angus from the Trews.
Yeah.
Years ago, my brother and I were opening for Gord Sinclair at the RBG that I was telling you about. The beautiful RBG. And he caught the show, and he just mentioned, hey, if you want to, we should write some songs together sometime. Yeah. And as a fan of the Trews, I was like, sure.
Yeah.
I don't do a ton of the co-writing stuff. Just, it's just, whether it's timing or it's just tough to do. I also don't like seeing songs that I work on.
Yeah.
Just kind of like go in the bin, or like, I love co-writing if I know that it's gonna, if it's for something that's gonna come out.
Yeah.
I don't like just like writing
for the sake of
writing.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
So, we had a couple writing sessions, and we wrote a few songs, and they kind of just sat on the back burner for a while. But we played a festival last summer in Ottawa, my trio, and the headliners were the Trews, and we stuck around to watch them. And afterwards, he's like, "Hey, those songs we wrote were good. Like, we should do something with them." I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." And then a couple weeks later, he just sent me like a full demo of like the whole song without vocals on. I was like, "Oh, cool." And then so I put vocals on, did like a bunch of harmonies, and then we kind of changed it stylistically. So it was really cool, fun process where getting to write a song with somebody like him was just awesome. Like getting to see what somebody who's one of those great Canadian artists, part of one of those great Canadian bands, see how they do it. And I got to put, it was kind of like I got to be back in my rock band self a little bit too, because I played bass on it. That's what I used to play in my rock band, bass and sang. And we got my brother, we put on drums with Mike. And the song kind of feels like a Beatlesy, like an early Beatlesy kind of thing.
Nice. I would suspect that with John Angus involved too. He likes his Beatles, that guy.
So it's kind of like an early Beatlesy thing. And when he sent me the demo, it was like, even in the email, he's like, "Hey, I kind of went full on Beatles, early Beatles with this." And I thought it would be cool if we could try to, you know how like Mark Ronson, when Amy Winehouse met up with Mark Ronson and they did like that girl group sound.
Yeah.
But then they updated it. With like,
I love that.
Just like the heavier kick.
That's it.
Heavier kick, kind of the horns, and it was just like more of a 21st century attack of those kinds of songs. I was like, maybe we could try to do, let's see if it works. Like, and McCartney has this song called Home Tonight that is like that, where it's like a really great bass line, but the drums are loud. And the horns are loud, and it kind of sits alongside like a pop song now, as opposed to being like, this sounds like 1965. Like, I think it sounds like now.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense.
It's tipping the hat to it, right? It's great. It's great when you get that kind of saturation that was from the 60s and stuff. It's so good,
And so that's what we were going for. And I think it's just like a cool love song that's like, to me, feels like a barn party.
A barn party?
Like a barn party, like outdoors, string lights.
Love that.
Bonfire. Just like having a great time. Like, that's kind of what it feels like.
Now. When you said early Beatles and then you said like a barn party now, right? Okay, that's so
it's sick, like, you know those Beatles songs, those early Beatles songs where it's like the acoustic guitar, like there's like an acoustic guitar kind of, it's like less the electric. I think you'll hear those references. Like John Angus came up with this really cool, once we kind of figured out the direction we were going, like this really cool horn. He built like this horn section. That was really cool.
Nice.
And it's just kind of a punchy, good song with I don't know what it reminds me of. Beatles. Kind of reminds me of that song in Greece where they're dancing at the end.
Oh yeah, you're the one that I want. That's a great.
Yeah, it's
tune.
got like a little bit of like that swing to it.
Okay.
And just like a bunch of harmonies, and it was just really, really fun to make.
Yeah.
And
they're the best songs, man. When they're fun to make, they usually come out good, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just so natural and it's part. That's probably the best. You can't ask for more from an artist than putting that out, right?
Yeah.
Putting the.
So I'm really excited for it to come out.
So April
25th.
25th.
Yeah.
Mark it in your calendars, guys. There'll be a link down there somewhere to do stuff or whatever. Okay then, Matt. Well, one question I always like to ask people before they leave is if you were in charge of, say, Hamilton's music scene or wherever, Southern Ontario's music scene, what do you think we need more of? What do you think needs to be? What would you change? What would you change about, like, what do you think somebody could do with the powers that be? What do you think they could do to help, make more of a music scene, or make it easier for artists to do this more and create community?
Yeah, I think like just things being affordable is the big one.
Yeah, I think you touched on it earlier, and I was gonna say I totally forgot, but I think that's also the thing with like gigs and stuff, right? Is even the economic aspect of like, we had a local hip hop guy on, Mr. Lee Reed, a few months ago now, who said that's the pure problem, is the economic difference between people going out in the early 2000s,
right, compared
to going out in 2025. It's totally different, right?
Yeah, it's just different. And even like for the artist side of things, I think that's the reason why like music scenes happen where people can afford to live and go out and play. It's like like right now, if you're living in the city, I think when my wife and I moved to Toronto, I think our rent in a 1-bedroom apartment in the West End, we've got a great deal. Like, I don't know how we found it, but it was like $1,400. Yeah. So it's like, that's doable to go out and like spend a couple bucks on beer or tickets. And, but if you're like spending like $3,000 a month and you're trying to be a musician and like, I don't know how many cover gigs you can play that's going to cover that, you know?
To do a lot, right?
Yeah. So like a place where it's a little more affordable. For me, selfishly, as like a songwriter, it would be nice. The Cameron House in Toronto is have you ever been there?
No.
It's got a front room that it's small but lovely. Mm-hmm. And it's like very friendly to songwriters. It's kind of past the hat. But like a place, a small place to work on stuff, play your songs, play your new songs.
Nice.
I think is very important.
Yeah.
And those are the places that are kind of disappearing, I feel like. Like there are the bigger spots where touring artists can come through, but the spots for kind of local artists to play that are just like, there's not too much pressure.
Yeah.
Like, there's not too much pressure to bring 100 people out. Like you can go and whether it's like a coffee shop with a stage, there just doesn't seem to be.
And that's what it needs to be sometimes. That's what I think that people forget is like, not every artist needs 100 capacity venue. Yeah. With even it'd be nice if 100% of people were listening intently to it. Yeah. But even like you said, coffee shop gigs for singer-songwriters are so important,
Totally.
And I think local coffee shops around Hamilton could really help doing that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing that should happen more.
Before I moved to Hamilton, I played a couple shows at like Mulberry, and that was really nice. Like those shows where if 15 people show up, it feels like a show. You know what I mean? Like it feels like great. I think those places are really, really important. And there just doesn't seem to be that. I think there used to be a few in Hamilton. Maybe I'm forgetting some right now.
Yeah.
But did you find that when you were coming up too? Like, those kind of spaces are.
Yeah, I would say, especially like back in the UK, there's quite a few spots which did kind of lent more into maybe not so much cafes, but maybe cafe restaurants. Sort of thing, where it's food. You know, people can grab some nice food and enjoy some live music, sort of thing. Which I think is again a great opportunity for a singer-songwriter just to be able to make a bit of cash. The restaurant gets something that's just a little bit different as well, rather than just
a human being.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and the chance of and I think sometimes it depends in your area and stuff, but sometimes quality control maybe sometimes is hard with stuff like that. You know, if you're just getting somebody that doesn't really know how to perform or handle that kind of small crowd, because if you're not used to my experience on cruise ships is the best thing about it is that you learn if you got a room full of people not listening, it doesn't bother you because you're just getting paid to play, sort of thing. Which sucks, and if you're trying to be an artist and such, I don't envy you trying to do stuff like that. But I think at the same time, the economic side of it, you know, if somebody's going to pay you $100 to play your tunes, and like you say, for me, if you play that and you walk away with one person that follows you intensely on like socials, it's worth it, you know.
Yeah, totally. I just found like, you know, over the years I've played those gigs where you play in a big room and there's not many people there. It's like that's hard on yourself, but it's also you feel bad for the venue. Like you feel bad for everybody involved,
pressure, right? Yeah,
and just those gigs where you can start building something up, building a following. That's the thing that I think every town needs a really small place to
Hamilton,
we're
working on it. We're working on it, man.
Hamilton's got so much going.
It has. So it's got so much going for it. It's going to have even more over the years. I can tell, man. It's like I scream and shout this to everyone, and everyone's like, "Danny, this has happened before. This happened before, but it's different now, man." People, like you said, just Toronto. It seems like it's always been bad, but it's just getting so bad that people just can't afford to be there anymore. You know? It's insane, and you have to question what are you actually getting out of it when you've been there. You know,
right?
Is the thing. Yeah. So I think Hamilton's the one, you know. Hamilton's the one for sure. Yeah, you know,
it's also good being like close to a college town.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots going on.
Lots of art, lots of vibrancy,
and like that's always people. Open-minded people just willing to try stuff. Right? Yeah, for sure.
It's important.
Sure. Well, Matty, thank you so much for coming down, dude.
Thanks for having me.
I love it when I meet somebody for the first time.
Sweet.
And we can just chat for hours, and it could be like a 3-hour podcast if we just sat here, sort of thing. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming down. So you got your single coming out 25th of April. Yep. Go and check that out. If there's a pre-save, we'll put it down below and everything. Where can everybody find you on socials and all that stuff?
Yeah, MattieLeon.com is my website.
There you go.
Mattie Leon Music is Instagram. I think Mattie Leon Songwriter is TikTok.
There you go.
And Facebook is Mattie Leon Music, I think, as well.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks
everybody. Go check it out. Follow Matt on all socials. Go and listen to his new song when it is out. Don't forget to subscribe to Tones of the Hammer so that you don't miss an episode. We've got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few months that I would love for you all to see when it all comes out. And we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.